Hey Tech for All members, this is a video on how to create this logo that was drafted to us in vector form so that you can create logos or put it as a branding and put it on t-shirts and things like that. So if you guys go to our club website, you guys can see it right here. We're going to go ahead and click on the triple dot, and we're going to open a new window. And once you open a new window, you'll have the option to download here on the upper right. I'm going to go ahead and download it. It's going to save into my downloads folder. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Illustrator. Now you can do this inside of Photoshop as well, but Photoshop will take a little bit longer to use some of the features. I'll explain that in a minute. But Adobe Illustrator is kind of like the vector design software. It gives you a lot more powerful tools than Photoshop might, although it's not as flexible with pixels. But in terms of vector graphics like the one we see here, it's going to be great. So now you go ahead and click on a new file, and we're just going to do a web one. You can leave the default settings. It doesn't really actually matter how big this is. This is a vector, so it doesn't matter actually how many pixels you use. But the higher pixel you have, the better preview you'll have of it. 1000 by 8 by 1000 by 8 is just fine. We don't need any bleeds. We're using RGB color, and we're going to go ahead and click Create. So once a project is open, first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make sure that we're all using the same workspace. If you go to Windows Workspace, I'm going to use Essentials Classic. So basically, all of you should be starting with the same place as me if you're using the same workspace. So all my buttons should be the same as yours. I'm going to actually reset mine, make sure that it looks exactly like yours. And this is what you should see. So I like to always put on rulers. So if you guys go into Windows or View, we are able to see rulers. So I like to do and show my rulers here so I can know what I'm working at. I'm going to go ahead and go to File, and then I'm going to go to Place. So inside here, this is how we're going to place the downloaded file into our canvas here. I'm going to go ahead and click on the logo, and I'm just going to stick it in the middle. Now, how big it is, you can obviously take this and scale it, but I'm just going to make it the size is fine. You'll see here on the top, these options that we have. These options, make sure that you have the property windows and the control window open. You'll be able to see all the properties. So I'm going to go ahead and use these alignment tools. This is how I align it horizontally. This is how I'm going to align it vertically. And I'm going to get started here. Now, I'm not going to make the sign in Tech for All. That's just text. I'm mainly going to concentrate on building a vector version of this logo that someone drafted for us. If you hold spacebar, right, this is how you kind of pan inside of Illustrator, and it's similar to all the Adobe tools. So anyway, I'm going to start with this head and this here and this here. Now, you can see here that it's using a white color, a blue color, and a black color. And the black color is not all the way through. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but I'll teach you guys how to do one if you guys choose to do it that way. But let's start off with a square. Now, remember, everything that you guys have, even shapes, are actually vectors. So even though it's a shape, it's made up of vectors. So let's go ahead, and you guys are learning about vectors now. So I'm gonna go ahead and drag out one right here. I'm gonna put no fill color just so that I can see through it. In terms of stroke color, let's just go ahead and use black for now. Let's increase the stroke weight to 4 so we can actually see how ours matches up with the reference. So I'm gonna go ahead and tilt it. You're gonna go to the left side. You're gonna see this icon that lets you tilt it. I'm going to go ahead and tilt it, okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and scale it in, scale it up, move to the right, okay, and something like that. That looks about the right shape. Now you can see that it's a little bit rounded, right? The picture want to be rounded. If you guys grab this little widget right here, it'll kind of round out the corners. So I'm going to round it out just a little bit. And you can see here the silhouette of the round. Okay. In addition to this, though, you can actually see here under appearance that there's fill color and stroke. And basically, let's just go ahead and give this what we call a triple stroke. We'll give it a white fill color. Then we're going to stroke the rest of it black and blue. So right here, I'm going to go ahead and change this to blue. Right. And then I'm going to give it like a 2-point extra stroke. So if you guys click on stroke like this, you can control some of the options for the stroke. Like if you want to stroke it on the outside, on the inside, that's up to you. I'm going to go ahead and stroke it in the middle for now. So it's going to stay and align it into the middle. Corners are going to be like that. I'm going to go ahead and click on this right here. This panel gives me the ability to add more strokes. So I'm going to go ahead and click on here and click on a new layer. Let's see. Add new stroke. So you see the button right here. I'm going to go ahead and add a new stroke. I'm going to add a black color one. And you can see here that it kind of overrides my other one. So I'm going to decrease it in size. Okay. So you can see the black stroke. Okay. So again, these are layered on top of each other. So let's see if I can make it more apparent here. If I increase this really, really large, right? So I have a 18 stroke or point black stroke on top of a blue stroke, and that's not what I want. So I'm going to make this one only 6, and I'm going to reverse the order. So I'm going to take the blue one, and I'm going to do this by dragging it on top. So now I have a blue on top of black. So now if I turn off the reference, and by the way, if you want to see where all the layers are, it's under the layers window, and the layers window is somewhere snapped in here. And there it is. So we have layers. So you can see here, there's the rectangle layer right here, and I can have the reference layer right here. If you click on the little eye, you can turn it off, and you can get a closer look at our stroke. You can see here there's a 1-point stroke right here, a 1-point stroke right here, and a 4-point blue stroke right there. How do I get 1? If you take 6, subtract 4, it's 1 pixel more on the outside, 1 pixel more on the inside. Again, these strokes, you can change the alignment. So let's say you want to put 2 points on the outside and no points on the inside. You'll have to go to stroke and change everything to the outside. And then you'll have a 2-point stroke on the outside because it's 2 more than the blue stroke, which is 4 points. So again, it depends on how you want to design this. I'm just going to put it in the middle because I think that's what the reference is sort of doing. It's kind of doing kind of in between. It has a little black stroke here, a little black stroke there. And I'm going to go ahead and turn back on the image, and let's continue. So I'm going to start doing the ears now, and then the little oval ears. So for me, I'm just going to put a shape in the back that's going to look like this. And I can turn off this layer just to make sure I'm looking at the reference. I'm concentrating on the ears right now. I'm going to go ahead and do another rectangle. And I can actually duplicate the previous one. I'm actually going to duplicate this one. So right here, you can actually just right-click and create a duplicate of this layer. So you can go to Edit. You can see all the duplicate tools. And you make sure you click on this little blue button right here to select it. I'm going to go to Edit. I'm going to copy this one. And I'm going to place it in place. So now I have a second one. I'm going to turn off the first one. And I'm going to click back on the second one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify this one to fit the ears. And I'm going to put this thing in the back. So I'm going to put it like this. Okay, I'm going to extend it out to match just about where the ears are. And this, again, if you want symmetrical design with your previous one. So this is going to appear in the back of my, my face. So this is going to be behind that. And I think that's good. I don't think I need to do much there. And actually, I'm going to duplicate again. So again, I'm going to go to Edit. And I can paste another one in place. And I'm going to turn off this one now. And this one's going to be the oval ears. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this down. Pull this up. Drag it out. And again, this is all going to be symmetrical in terms of the angle of tilt, right? And I'm going to pull and curl these much more, right? It's almost half circle like that. Okay, and if I turn on all the layers that I have made so far, it's going to look something like this. Okay, and again, if you like asymmetric design, this is fine. You can obviously move these around and kind of get the right order that you want. So let's go ahead and start showing you guys the order here. I'm going to drag the big one on top. And on the big one, I'm going to give it a fill color now, and you'll see that I'm going to cover up the face. Oh, I got the wrong one. I'm going to Control-Z that. Make sure that you guys see here that you have to actually click on the bubble to make sure you're selecting the right layer that you're working on. I'm going to make that white. Okay, and I'm going to make sure, oh, again, I got the wrong layer. I'm going to do it for all the layers, actually. I'll make this one also white. And I'm going to make this one white. Click there, and make that one white. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to do is just change the order. I think this one's going to be in the back. So that one like there. And there we go. So we got some ears going on. And again, it's not pixel perfect, but you can sit there and use the move tool and move some of these things. So for this one, for example, this one looks pretty centered. This one's not quite centered. Let me go ahead and move it just a hair. Something like that. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and turn off these layers that I created so far, and let's go ahead and do the eyes. Again, the eyes are just one single circle, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. I'm going to go grab the circle tool and make sure I have the right one. Right-click here, you'll see here the ellipse tool, and if you click here and you drag it out, you can see that it's using the old strokes that I already have. I'm going to hold Alt, and I'm going to get it, hold Alt to make sure that it's centered on where you clicked, and then hold Shift to make sure it's a perfect circle. I'm going to get it just about there, okay? And the stroke lines, I'm going to put everything to the outside, okay? And I'm going to turn off the colors for now because it's hard to see what I'm doing, and the fill color. Okay, so now it's not quite the right location yet, so I'm going to grab this right here and use my arrow keys. You can use your arrow keys to kind of position it exactly where you want it. And now I'm looking at this. I want a black fill and probably a white stroke and then another black stroke. So I'm going to change this one right here to white stroke. And again, I'm going to stroke everything to the outside. And I'm going to increase the weight. See, that's a little bit too big, so I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller. Okay, and then I'm going to add another stroke. So again, you can go here and add another stroke layer. I'm going to make it black. Okay, and I'm going to change the order. So white on top of black, all to the outside. So there we go. So I got, wait, other way around? Yeah, other way around. Okay, and then I'm going to go to the black one, and I'm going to increase the weight. White on top of black. Yep, white on top of black. There we go. And now we have that, right? And now I just got to fill the color with black. And now we have the eye. So I'm going to turn off the eye that I created. This is the eye that I created. And again, this is if you want symmetrical design. If you want to make it a little bit more ovalish, we could. So for example, let's show you how to do that. So in case you want the eyes to be a little bit more oval, you can go and click on your pen tool. Again, we learn how to use the pen tool, right? And you could deform it just a little bit. So I'm going to hold Control and then move it just a little bit oblong. So if you like it to be a little bit more ovalish and make it a little more cartoony, there you go. So you see here I moved this one vector that we created, and it moved the white one and the black one accordingly. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to this eye over here and continue that. Or actually, I can just take a duplicate of this one and move it over and make it smaller. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this over here, go to Edit, paste in, copy, and Edit, paste in front. So I have a second one here, and I'm going to move the second one using my Move tool, and I'm going to move it over here. You can see here that I only copied half of it, so I'm going to delete that. That's my mistake. Let's go back to this one. Okay, I'm going to copy this and see if I can paste it back in place and take the second one, move it over here, and I'm going to scale it down. Something like that. And I'm going to move right there. Okay, so now I got two eyes. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the little highlight. The highlight is just another white circle. So I'm going to just go ahead and go here. I'm going to have no white fill, right? No stroke. And I'm going to start right here. I'm going to hold Alt to center where I want it. Hold Shift to keep it exactly where to keep it exactly a circle. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do another one right here. Left click drag. You're going to hold Alt to center it. You're going to hold Shift to keep it a circle. And then you're going to match the reference right there. So now I got two highlights. So here's what we have so far with all the shapes. I'm going to go ahead and add the antenna here. Just go ahead and use a line. Right, so there are line tools, right? And we're just going to make a simple line. I'm just going to make it bigger than it needs to be. Just drag it down there, right? And this line is going to be blue color. And it's going to have, I don't know, 4 points. Looks good. I'm going to go ahead and make the circle. Again, the ellipse tool, it's going to be blue color. And no stroke. I'm going to go here, right in the center, left click, drag. I'm going to hold Alt to center it, hold Shift, get it just there, okay? And make sure what's going on with this line right here. Make sure that this line is doing, oh, because I did stroke and no fill. Make sure that you guys are clicking on the correct layers. Again, these mistakes happen all the time. There is my blue stroke. Go back to 4 points. Just make sure that you click on this little bubble right here to make sure that what you're editing is that object. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the blue shape right now and create these little green highlights that were created. Now the green highlights, again, are very custom shape. I'm going to go ahead and use Control Plus, just like you guys do on Google Chrome, to create this design. I'm going to go ahead and use the pen tool. And I'm just going to create, real quickly, a green fill. And I'm going to go ahead and create this shape. So I'm just going to start here, pull to the right, hold Alt, swing up. Go over here, pull to the right, hold Alt, swing down. Go to the bottom, pull up, swing in. And go to the bottom here, and then swing to the right. And then click back to where I started. Okay, I'm going to do another one over here. I'm going to start, I don't know, probably right here. I'm going to pull to the right. Something like that. I'm going to pull over here, pull up, hold Alt, swing in. Go here, swing lower right, then hold Alt, swing in again. Something like that. And if you're not happy with the way it is, you can just move it along, get it to about the shape that you want it. Something like that. And I'm going to go ahead and turn back on my blue layer. That makes the antenna. I'm going to use Control minus to zoom out. And now we're going to do the body. Okay. And it's just a simple, custom shape here. So I still have my pen tool selected. It's going to be a fill color of white. It's going to have a stroke color of blue. And it's going to be about 4 points. And I'm just going to, and again, this shape is in order. So I'm just going to put it in the back later on anyway. So I'm just going to drag, create our curve. And I'm going to go to here, pull it up, hold Alt, hold Shift, swing it forward, go to here. Okay, and I'm just going to start left clicking now because it's all going to be relatively straight lines. So I'm just going to left click, left click, left click. And you can see sometimes I'm holding Shift to make sure that the line is nice and straight. Left click, drag, hold Shift to keep it horizontal, hold Alt to swing up, and then swing over here, and something like that. Okay. Now, you can always make adjustments by holding Control and shifting things down. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and put this in the back, not behind the head. So I'm going to drag this down below all the head layers here. Okay, and now just draw the arms. So I'm going to left click somewhere over here, hold Alt, go over here, hold Alt, get the right angle there, and then kind of swing over. This shape's going to be in the back, so something like that. Right, and again, I'm going to put this arm that I just created, and you can see here the layers that we have. I'm going to drag this to the back, and I'll make one more up here. Hold Alt, go there, left click, drag around there, then kind of swing back up, and then swing back over here. And again, this shape is going to be in the back, something like that. And there you have it. We finished our logo. There is some shading that you could do. We could do some gray shading with some vectors. If you look at the original here, I'm going to turn off everything and turn on just this one. I think it's Control Shift or Shift. Actually, I don't know which one it is. But you can see here, if I turn off all the layers, you can see the reference. Okay, that's our reference. And we got a pretty good thing. So there is some gray shading that you can do if that's if we want to add that shading. But for now, not needed. So I'm going to go ahead and turn back on all of our layers. And we have created a vector version of our Tech for All logo here. I'll see you guys.